thank you guys for being here. This is our fourth podcast. And for this podcast, we actually want to introduce to you one of our all-time favorite patients, Colleen. And we'll tell you about her story, and we're all happy to be here. And Jen, my office manager.
Hi, everyone.
So, Jen, do you have any words to kick us off here?
I'm very happy to be here. I'm very appreciative. Colleen has been a longtime patient and she's a blast. So it's kind of like we're at a party right now, not even a podcast. But I honestly want to start telling you about our journey. And the main reason we're here is about building patient trust and that we always put the patient's needs before our own. So that's what this therapy is about. Like, we don't put ourselves first, we put the patients first. And I want the public to know that message because I'm very fortunate and lucky that I work for such an amazing doctor as a person and a human being. But even more fantastic is that he has skill set that I've never seen unmatched. I've been in the dental field a long time. I don't get paid extra for this, so there's not like he's giving me extra money on the side to say it. He is one of the smartest and has the best skill set and tactile sense. I'm also a dental hygienist, so I've seen a lot of doctors work in the past. Dr. Gamza believed in me enough to merge me into the office manager position, which has been 2 years, which is
Right. It's almost actually been a year since we've opened up Oradell.
well, it's been a year since Oradell, our year anniversary. And as I told the crew here at Jersey Media, if you make it past a year with anybody, usually it's for life. We all know the honeymoon phase has passed, guys. But honestly, he is a fabulous dentist. So that is one of the things that inspires me to come to work every day, because if you work for a doctor who doesn't care about their patients and does mediocre work and just goes back into his office and doesn't communicate, that makes your day pretty not good. But when you have a doctor that really comes to you and says, how can we make this patient happy? Let's look at all the different angles. Let's analyze their financial situation. He's always on board and thinking out of the box and pretty much can solve any problem anybody has. So that's a pretty
But thank you.
well, let me rephrase that. Not any problem, a dental problem.
Dental health.
But and then when Colleen came through our door, I felt, first of all, she's one of the sweetest women I know. I really mean that, not as just a patient, as a human being.
Thank you.
And she was so frightened and so scared, which is honestly 80% of the dental population. So when she came in through the door and needed all this work, it was very overwhelming for her. And it was very hard for us to try to say, all right, let's take a step back and let's analyze why, you're overwhelmed, and let's do it step by step. It's also overwhelming for patients being the office manager financially. A lot of people do want to fix their teeth, but they're nervous. It's a lot of money. Dental insurance really is just, it's an adjunct. It's not going to cover everything, guys. So if you have an illusion, we take all insurances, we take everything, that doesn't mean that it's all covered. So I'm always very transparent with the patients that there is going to be out-of-pocket cost. There's not, what did they say? It's not a race, it's a journey. Do I have that saying right? We got to take our time to get to our destination. But if you're still in the race, you're going to win. So that's Dr. G and I's philosophy. Now I'm going to hand over to Colleen what she thinks about that philosophy to back us up, and how it impacted her life.
Well, impacted my life. I can't tell you the difference it's made since I've known you guys for 2 years now. As I said in my interview for social media, I came in on an emergency basis, was going to another dentist for a long time. My teeth were literally falling apart, breaking every other week. I think I saw Dr. G the first month
Still
or two.
depressing there.
Yeah. We were, and poor Dr. G he's so compassionate that he was like, I'm so he was afraid to tell me what I needed and that is what actually got me. I was like, oh my God, he really cares. And I kept saying to him, I don't care, just give it to me, just tell me. By this point in my dental health and my dental journey, I was numb to it all, couldn't afford any of it, and I was just like, well, we're gonna have to do what we're gonna have to do. I need teeth in my mouth. Well, he and Jen both evaluated it they spoke to me like a human being. They asked me what my concerns were. They didn't rush to say, you need this, oh, we got to fix this, and this is what you owe us. Wasn't even discussed my first visit, I don't think.
No.
It was like, don't worry about it. We know you're flying to Florida tomorrow and you have a broken tooth in your mouth. And right now we're just concerned about you getting it taken care of by the oral surgeon. We'll see you when you come back and we'll discuss I mean, never in my dental history. It was always about, okay, can you pay us this? And we're going to do this procedure. And honestly, all the procedures I had done were breaking.
So this could be a strong point or it could be a weak point. So I am Italian American and I operate on sometimes emotion, which could be a strong point. I have a lot of empathy for people. I care a lot. I'm always like, like saying, don't worry about it, because I feel that I always believe if you pass forward, other good things will happen to you.
Yeah, but you're honest about it too.
I am honest.
Yeah.
I am honest, but I do believe in that, and I spread the word of good because I do believe that if you're good, good will come back
Yes,
to you.
paying it forward.
Yes,
is my philosophy as well. Before I even met them,
right before we even were in
Yeah,
each other's
yeah,
chair.
yeah.
Dr. Gamza does have the same philosophy. When I came to him and I said, Colleen has been pretty traumatized.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been one thing after another with this woman.
And it wasn't just recently. This started when I was 3 years old.
Right. This is
a lifetime of.
I don't think we still have a couple more years to get you exactly where you need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Gonzo won't even talk. I'm in a really good place now, but he's like, hey, we may not be able to have to see each other for a couple months.
You can always still come in.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's what I just told him a minute ago. I think I need to come in
just to say hi.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is that like when I went to Dr. Gamza's office, and sometimes he cringes because he never knows what's going to come out of my mouth. Right. That's an honesty. I said to him, Dr. G, I feel we got to pay Colleen because you know what? No, because of
but I'm not being paid, just so.
No, not literally being paid, but like we need to pay back because she's been such a good, reliable patient. She always keeps her appointments. She's always paid. She's never wasted our time. We never paid her extra to give us good PR, which was nice, to hear somebody say something positive or leave a review for you.
I actually asked Jen how I could help. How I could be of help.
Which no one asks us.
Because I saw that they were opening a new office. I saw that they were doing some advertising, and I really wanted to speak up, and not just for their practice or for advertising. I mean, it's more for the compassion part of it and the people part of it. When I tell you I was so traumatized my whole life, I would not just cancel. I've talked to many people who cancel appointments several times, who won't go. But I have had so many serious procedures and things by a regular dentist, and I would have practically a panic attack just walking in for a cleaning. I mean, I couldn't even have my teeth cleaned like that. And I would, but it took a lot for me to get there. And I wanted to help and do this podcast, and I wanted to do the social media and things because I want to try and reach some patients out there who are just as afraid as I was. And I've dentist hopped, trust me, trying to find the right person. And then every time my husband makes fun of me because it's like, oh, this one's better than the one you had like a year ago. And I'm like, yeah.
Dr. G, you're not her first.
No, okay. No, but he's going to be my last. Let me tell you, because and I refer everybody I talk to, I refer, needless to say. But I really just feel that I can go there. And Jen's right. I have not, since I've been seeing Dr. G, I have not canceled one appointment.
Never.
And not only that,
we charge for that if it's a professional offender.
And but that's not why. But I even one time I had to have a tooth pulled, and I want somebody in your office or a root canal, one or the other. One of your specialists in your office did it for me. And it was so great. Like, I was like, oh my God, this guy is in this office. Dr. G talked to him, spoke to him directly.
Was it Dr. Solzberg?
Yeah, I
yeah.
think it was Dr.
Dr.
Solsberg.
Solsberg is our specialist, and if you ever do need periodontal work or surgery of any,
It was a
he's
last
phenomenal
minute thing,
too.
and he was able to do it. Again, a lot of my stuff was happening last minute because everything was breaking. Literally, one thing would break. A week later, something on my
Yeah,
other
it
side
was.
of my
I've
mouth
never
would
seen
break.
anybody have such bad luck.
Like I would call Jen or I would call the receptionist, and we're on a first name basis, by the way. And I'd be like, "Hey, it's Colleen. Oh, hi. What's the matter now?" And I'd be like, "I'm so sorry, but I
Well,
have to come in tomorrow
that's why
because I have no
after,
front tooth." Like,
but after you went through all that, right? So here I am in January. I said, Dr.
Mhm.
G, I want to give something back to Colleen. Not even did he pause.
Mm.
He's very quiet naturally. He just looked at me and says, "That's a great idea." So the point is, he wanted to do it right away. Most doctors would be like, "Oh, you sure? You did?" I didn't do it because the PR. I did it because you know what? Making one person's life different
Mhm.
is changing
Yeah.
a lot.
And it's changing a lot. And not only that, I mean, I by far I'm not poor or anything like that, but
No, that
the
was crazy.
dental work,
It can get very
adds up.
expensive.
I mean,
Yeah.
and the stuff and I was having to go to the oral surgeon. By the way, I have 2 dental insurance companies who it's great dental insurance, but like Jen said, it just touches a bill. It doesn't
Cover
take
it.
care of it, especially the major work I was having done. And Dr. G and Jen never once made me feel pressured or worried. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were things that had to be paid. There were fees that had to be paid that
That's
I was glad to take care of right away
right.
because I understood and I wasn't being pushed. I He was more worried about my health and my dental health. Even when I got my front teeth fixed in January, all he kept saying to me was, "You're going to feel so much better. Not you're going to look so much better. Not you're going to do this. Not you're going to do that. You're going to actually feel so much better." He understood what that tells you right away that you understood how I felt. It wasn't necessarily about the look. Yes, I like the look much better now, but
Yeah, you look
it
great.
wasn't about that. It was
I
that
want to
I
throw that
didn't
in there.
feel
They look
good.
really good too.
Yeah. See?
I
Even my friends though, I said I have never not had pain in my mouth. So I
Well,
don't know what that's
I
like.
have a question for Dr. G because this is very important for him to get across to the people that are watching this so they get a touch of what makes you different in the
Mhm.
operatory
Mhm.
versus any person they might pick off of their insurance or a review,
Right.
a reference, however people find us. What is your philosophy when you walk into the operatory? What is the first thing that you want to do for the patient to make them feel comfortable? And what makes your philosophy and your dynamic that people really that we have no seats open. They always want to see you.
So the one thing I think about, the only thing I can think about when I see a patient in a chair is how if this patient was my wife, was my mother, was my sister, was my daughter, son, how would I treat them? And that's the methodology we have at our office, that I want to treat everyone like as if they were my family member. So it's important that they get that kind of care, you know.
And
And
that
that's what you get there from the minute you walk in the door. It's not just Dr. G. I mean, the actual assistants make me feel at home
that's true.
and they never and it's not about the dental work. Again, it's more
And the hygienist, you've had your teeth cleaned.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because we try to keep everybody, as anybody who knows who owns any business,
Yeah,
or
everyone on our team is kind of has the same methodology, philosophy.
Yeah.
It's
right,
important.
Yeah.
exactly.
And
It's
that's
important that we hired people with the same philosophy.
yes.
Right.
And that's what I mean. I feel welcome whatever room I'm in there, and it's not fake, and it's not
Well, that's
because they've been told. And I mean, they even as much as I mean, now I've been there a lot of times, but they're like, "Oh, how's this?" Or, "Oh, you have a nice jacket on. I remember the jacket you wore last time." I mean, where are you going to get that? And again, it's not fake because I am not a fake person, and I don't tend to migrate towards people who put a face on. I am very much,
You have that
very much
energy.
no.
No,
So
we're very
I'm
genuine.
very much
Hey, I'll give you
genuine.
your check after the
Thank
podcast.
you. I'm very much you see what you get. I have no poker face at all.
No.
That's how we are also.
And that's how I feel like they are. And
Yeah.
it just
So
I mean,
I get that
really-
vibe too. Like you could just know certain people.
Yeah.
Like sometimes Dr. Gomes will be like, "Well, how do you know they're gonna do this or do
Yeah.
that?" And I'm very big into
You're able to read it.
You could
Yeah.
read it.
Mhm.
I could
Because you get to know
exactly. You get
people.
to if you get to have someone trust you
Mhm.
and you believe on that deeper layer,
Mhm.
once you cross that, then you
And
guys are good. You're
and
solid.
day
You
one,
know what I
let
mean?
me
Trust
tell
is
you,
everything.
day one, when you were like promising me all this,
I could have been
oh,
a fake
oh,
promiser.
you were like, oh, I know who you're talking about. I'm going to get you in to see this surgeon tomorrow before your flight leaves. And I was like, yeah, okay. Like right away, I was like, all right, yeah, go ahead. You
Girl's a
try.
smoke blower, she
Yeah.
was thinking.
Yeah, I was like, you try, but she seems nice, but you go ahead, try that. And sure enough, 5 minutes later, I had a call. I was on my way to the oral surgery. Like,
Yeah, shout out to Dr.
Dr.
Navelli.
Navelli.
Dr. Navelli and Han, who are
Dr.
now
Navelli.
following us. And I appreciate that you're seeing we're doing a shout out because we have a small circle of people that we really do trust. Our patients are our gold. If our patients aren't happy, then we don't have any gold and our practice will not grow.
Yeah.
It's like a plant without water.
Mhm.
I want to nurture every single one of them. If I feel like they're all my children and I'm a nurturer by nature. So I love to make people feel safe. I love to make people feel like you could trust me. It's not fake. Anybody who knows me could vouch for me
Yeah.
for years on any level. I just don't want, if they trust me, then they're going to say, okay, we got a connection and we're on the same
But
page.
but
our connection of people that we put with,
Yeah.
I mean, our orthodontist, our specialist, any specialist, we all know
Yeah.
that they're good people and we know that our patients are safe there.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Gamza doesn't even do his own, like some general dentists could place implants.
Yeah.
They could do root canals. They could do any of that.
Mine broke.
Right. Dr. Gamza doesn't choose to do that. He stays in his wheelhouse. He's an exceptionally good general dentist, and he could do a crown with his eyes. That's a challenge one day.
Yeah, I can't do eyes.
No, I'm saying I'm wondering if I
doesn't close his
blindfold
eyes,
you, if you
yeah.
could prep. No, a crown.
Yeah, let's make
So-
sure we state that.
No, okay. He doesn't do that, but it's a challenge as a joke. If I blindfold him one day, we might do. I think he's got it. Such a down. Yeah,
Probably could.
he could do it so many. Like his wheelhouse is his wheelhouse, and he dominates it. But he also says, I'm not a specialist. That's what they're there for.
And that's what he said to me day one. He said, could I do it? Yeah, I could do it. But let's send you to the right person. And again, quick shout out to Bergen Oral. And
Yes.
I saw Dr. Novelli personally, who is
who I know for 20 years.
who is very similar to Dr. G. He sat me down, he spoke to me, asked me how I was, like a person. He wasn't in it just for the surgery.
He wasn't an AI
in it-
robot.
No. Although I wonder, because he is very, very quiet at times. But
Sometimes
he's just-
people are quieter thinking.
he's just amazing too. And let me tell you, I had implants done in my history, and my face was swollen literally out to here the next day. I was calling doctors on a Sunday. I mean, my husband was like, oh my God, what's wrong with your face? Like really in bad pain, tears coming down my face after just a regular extraction. My daughter even, who, hi Emily, but she was like, oh my God, mommy, what
Emily,
can I
you need
get
to come see us.
Yeah.
Take care of you.
But you know, I have a pretty high pain tolerance, and for me to be doing that, and let me tell you, Dr. Navelli did my first extraction and implant on an emergency basis, and I woke up and I was like, okay, do we have all the pills ready? Is the ice pack ready? And I didn't need any of it.
You
I
don't
woke
need
up
that.
the next day and my husband was like,
They're
oh my
precise
God, you're not even
professionals.
swollen. And I'm like, no, it's going to come. By tonight, I'll be swollen.
Right.
You know, it never happened. And all the crowns that Dr. G has done for me too. Never pain the next day, never discomfort. And during the procedure itself, I have
You don't
never
even feel his injections.
No.
I mean,
The
by the way,
injections, I have to tell you, I don't even feel. And that's the truth.
That's
And I
what
saw
makes me
somebody
worry.
else do a testimonial on your website the other day.
it's like superhuman because like he
But
does
it's-
my Botox. Yes, I get Botox. No, but I'm saying like I don't feel anything ever. And I'm like, even my mom, who is like old school Italian, will tell you the way it is. She's like, I don't even feel him touching me. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if there's work being done. You're so conscious and have such tactile sense.
Thank you.
You don't feel anything. So like that's a testimony as being a patient and his office manager, but we have a real patient here.
Yeah.
And anybody on the outside who already seen Dr. G, like he's on so many groups. He's on Bergen County Moms. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. He's in New Milford. He's in Oradell. He's all over every church and synagogue in
I
Bergen
was
County.
just going to say, he gives back to his community.
He does.
Which is amazing to me as well, especially as busy as his practice is. I've given back to my community for over 25 years. It's been part of my life. It's in my blood. And that really that was just icing on the cake for me. That you have such an amazing personality, and you're such a good human being.
Thank you.
You know, we don't know each other personally, but what I
That's
know
what I'm
of,
speaking.
no, but what I know of, like, it's amazing to me, and I will
Well,
always
you know what I
be
love?
thankful for that, because there's not many people nowadays, especially, that you can come across that
Do it all.
do it all, or thinks the way that you do, or understands what it's like to give back. And
Well, when I asked Dr. G, and like, I'm always like, let's give back, let's do something. So I'm Catholic. My kids go to Catholic school. Dr. G is Jewish. His kids go to yeshiva. And the way we melted together, I mean, he's never ever said no. Any community, any church event, any golf outing, he
Mhm.
supports everyone. And it's like such something to admire, because he'll give to the yeshiva. We'll give to anybody who
Yeah.
needs a calendar, but he'll
Mhm.
be like, Jen, you need that for the golf outing? He
Mhm.
doesn't even second guess himself. He writes a check. He supports everyone. And to
And
me,
it's out of the goodness of his heart,
right,
too.
how to me that's admirable, because you know what? He believes in all good causes, and that is somebody who's a good leader.
Can I talk about being your patient a little more, and
Of course.
anxiety?
Yeah.
Well, Dr. G, do
I
you
don't wanna
want to
make
say
you feel
anything like,
uncomfortable.
like about being the provider and all the things we're saying about, the empathy and your strong points? Is there anything as a dentist that sometimes that, you might get frustrated too, because you have a lot on your plate. I mean, you have 2 offices.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You have 14
Family.
employees reporting to you. You have 3 doctors, 1 high energy office manager,
Mhm.
a wife and 4 children.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So is there anything on the day-to-day balance that you would say as a dentist that is hard to maneuver?
Mhm.
Seriously,
I
because
think as a dentist, what one thing is that's very important is whenever you walk into the room, you gotta turn everything else off and just
Mm.
focus on the patient. It's very important because the patient and I remember the old office I used to work in the city. My old boss used to tell me the patient in front of you, that's the one thing that matters.
Mhm.
Everything else is secondary. So whenever I walk into the room, I'm very focused on the patient's care, their teeth, and how to get them feeling comfortable. Because I know there's a lot of trauma with dentistry, and a lot of people with trauma.
takes a
So
lot of energy from you.
as a patient, you don't want someone who's robotic. You want to feel, someone that's compassionate. So that's
But I'm saying doing that 8 or 9 times a day with each patient, I mean, because I was a hygienist,
Yeah.
it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of emotional extra. So it does there's more levels of being to a dentist than just
of course.
prepping a tooth.
They didn't teach you that in dental school.
No, they
Yeah,
didn't.
that's
No,
experience.
they
That's
didn't
experience.
teach you about the
Yeah.
patient who's going to scream at you or be upset, or none of us got the heads up on that. Not every patient's like Colleen, guys. So
Right.
that's why she's on the podcast. But even if you are a patient that is going to get upset, we still always make sure the patient's right. That's our method, right? Wouldn't you agree with that?
100%.
Okay. Now,
Patient's always
Colleen, I
right.
know you wanted to interject and tell Dr. G something else about your
Well, I
experience.
just want to, in general, again, talk about something that's very important to me personally, and my journey in life, even is, so 3 years old, I had chronic bladder infections, and back in 1971, they gave you this kind of antibiotic. So, in other words, it wasn't always the dentist, it was the procedures that we had back then and the technologies that have changed. And I appreciate that Dr. G has state of the art, upgraded equipment, x-rays,
So-
materials, but I also feel like you don't run out for the first thing that comes along, and you don't test it on your patients right away necessarily.
No.
Like you are positive
Oh,
when
he
you're using a
analyzes.
new technology. Like, I could tell you're already,
He's
know
very
that it's gonna
analytical.
work.
Also very a big perfectionist and
Right.
have to
Right.
try something at
The
times.
first day the girls came to take an x-ray when I got a cleaning with an actual camera in my face, I was like, what are you doing? And mind you, back in the day, I did medical assist and dental assist once or twice, and I was just telling Dr. G, I used to have to, we take x-rays and I used to have to put them in a solution, in the 80s. I used to have to put them in a solution and actually develop them. So when these girls came at me like with a camera and they're setting it up perfect, and I'm like, just take I'm thinking to myself, just take the picture, like, blah, blah. And they were being perfect but gentle at the same time. If something was uncomfortable
Dr.
and I
Gamza
touched it, they knew.
every morning has a morning huddle with us.
Yeah, I know
And
because
it's
I've
like,
been
this
there.
patient has this, this
Mhm.
patient has that.
Mhm.
We're going to do this for this patient. This patient doesn't like to be leaned back too far.
Yeah.
This patient needs an x-ray. I mean, I think he's got the next 10 years mapped out. Like, I go into
I
a
don't know about
morning
that.
huddle, but I'm just saying, like, he knows how to guide the staff. He knows, and technology. I mean, I feel like
But
I'm
it's just so awesome. Like, again, what I've been through and what I've lived through. And again, it's not always the dentist. It's what was back then, right?
Yeah.
But I had no enamel on my teeth from this antibiotic. I had silver caps as a child, so traumatized. Hello, like it was, they didn't knock you out back then. They kind of held you down in the chair and they gave you Novocaine, but still, all I remember is going to the treasure chest after and being able to
we
pick
still have a treasure
a little
chest.
plastic toy, but it all led up to where I've been in the past couple of years, especially. And I got to the point where I was just so numb that I didn't even care. Like, I'd be like, and
Desensitized.
he could tell you that. Like, the first time he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to tell you have to," and I'm like, "What now?" Right? That's what I said to you the first couple times. Okay, just give it to me. Just tell me. I've never not been in pain in my, because then sometimes Dr. G said, "Well, where does it hurt in your mouth?" Very kind, very calm. I'm like, "Well, it hurt. My mouth always hurts. Like, what do you mean it's not
I
supposed to hurt?"
remember
Yeah.
that.
I'm like, "What do you mean it's not supposed to hurt? It's hurt since I was a
You
little
remember
kid."
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, "Colleen, you're not supposed to have pain in your mouth." And I was like, "Really? You could do that?" you And guess what? Today, I can proudly say, since January, since he's finished the work, especially on my front teeth,
They look so good.
thank you. I get a lot of compliments, but I have not had an ounce of pain, and Jen can attest. I haven't called their office.
I'm a little nervous.
I know. I
I'm
came
actually,
here
like,
today, and I was like, "Okay, I have
Colleen
to call
okay?"
because there's one thing, but it's nothing major. Nothing's falling out. Nothing hurts. I'm able to chew, which I wasn't able to do.
Which is a point I want to bring up that Dr. G and like our staff always discusses. I am so worried about our patients, and probably like I should get more of a life. Like, that's the joke. But the thing is that I actually give them my cell phone because I don't want them to ever think over the weekend, or if they need to come in for an emergency, or to be honest, guys, I get like 500 phone calls a day. If
Yeah.
I forget to call back, it's not because you're not important. It's just because I got so much going on.
Sheer volume.
So I give them my personal information so they could text me, so they can call me, not because Dr. G directed me to do that, not because I'm worried that you're going to terrorize my personal time. It's because I want you to know we're always
Don't worry, I'll try to talk to
accessible.
her 100 times a day.
We're always accessible and reachable, and I will always contact the doctor for you and make sure that your needs are met.
It's important for patients to feel that they have access.
And you
to,
give your number
you know,
too.
Yeah.
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 A lot of offices don't do that. They have calling services, or they say they reroute them to another doctor.
Right.
We want to be in constant communication and make our patients always feel like they're safe and we're here. And that's the most important thing about
We
everything.
want to be the opposite of robotic.
I definitely think we're the opposite of robotic. I think sometimes we need to be a little more robotic. But sometimes maybe peel it back a little. I do want to say one thing that Dr. G started off with the year anniversary of Oradell, and I want to pick your brain about.
Oh yeah, I would love to talk.
So we're here and we made it a year. Everybody came to our open house, including Joe. It was a really big milestone for us. Dr. Gamza really took a leap of faith and really put up his blood, sweat, and tears into this practice, besides his initial practice, which he built. I'm hoping for him better and bigger things in the future if all goes well. Now that we have Oradell, we're at this point, and you're a patient, and you know that you could witness all the good things we've done, what would you recommend to say, let's get more people through the door, that they could believe us, besides, or like, because sometimes people see things, they scroll through it, they're like, yeah, whatever, what everybody says that. What would you, because it's a year and we're still growing. So what is a positive way to say for 2025, if you were a patient, to say,
honestly,
come to us?
Honestly, that's the truth why I'm here today. I scroll, I'll see
Everybody
things.
scrolls, I know.
I mean, but you're scrolling and you're like, oh, my dentist's office, why would I want to friend that. Like, that was my first thought. 2 years ago when
Dr. G's like, that's
2 years ago when you asked me to click the
link.
QR code, I was like, all right, whatever, and I did it, but I was like, I didn't understand why when I was in there getting my tooth pulled. And Dr. G and I have laughed about it too. But I'm here to tell people, like, Dr. G's Tenafly office is in a basement of an office building, but it's super clean. You just feel super welcomed when you walk in. You miss windows, but guess what? He's got TVs with landscapes on it so that you don't feel like you're in a dungeon, right? Right? And imagine working.
Call
It's
it a
hard
casino.
to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you call it what?
Appreciate that. I
Casino.
appreciate it.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't, with a casino, you lose track of time.
Yeah, yes,
It's like the
yes,
same
yes.
thing.
You
in
pump some oxygen in there,
Yeah.
But
It's like if
we
the
have music
world-
playing also.
yeah,
If the world
music
ended and the
playing.
generators went on, we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the joke we make.
But that office was great. But I live in New Milford on the Oradell border. Tenafly is not far. And for Dr. G, I was like, oh, I don't mind going to Tenafly. So I went to Tenafly, which, by the way, my gynecologist, when I had my kids, used to be in your office. So,
That was
Okay.
popular.
so I used to,
then,
it was a big practice
Yeah.
up on top. Anyway, so I laughed because it was like coming home almost when I went to your office building.
Okay, well, two different ends.
Yeah,
but yes.
two different ends, but yes. Anyway, we went.
Dr. G, you got to make the jokes in between.
So I went to Oradell when they opened, and what a beautiful office. I mean, not only that, it's 5 minutes away from my home. Everything is state of the art. I mean, and it's not overdone. It's simple, it's fresh, it's clean,
It's classy.
it's classy, and they have rooms there. And you know what?
And I have to give him credit to this. Dr. G designed first of all, he picked everything out from the
This is
floor.
where I was going. Like, you go to some new dental
it's great.
offices and doctors' offices, and it's all marble. It's all
Cold.
but it just looks overly done or expensive in my opinion. And you're wondering, like, oh, I guess that's where my money's going. You can't. I'm being totally honest again. You can't help but wonder, oh, he could afford this. Dr. G, you walk in there and you're like, this is so nicely done. It's classy, but it's
Subtle.
it's subtle. It's spacious, but it's subtle. Like,
Like
he
if I was
he doesn't have the whole floor of the building. Like, he has enough space that the staff needs and that he needs to do his work and do it well. And again, the decor, it's beautiful. And what I like is even,
windows.
and I'm going to comment even on you walk into the waiting room and it's very nice. But the most important thing to me is you walk into the operatory, which is what Jen called it. Those chairs that you have are fantastic. Like, you could see where, in my opinion, again, you could see where the money was spent or where the upgrades were, and it's for the patients. Like, if I walk in and you have these beautiful lounge couches and stuff like that, and that tells me that I'm going to be waiting in that waiting room for an hour and a half, and that's my other thing. I never wait in their office.
No.
Most I've ever waited is 10 minutes. And
He's like
somebody is always
Superman.
coming out and checking with every patient that's in the waiting room. We'll be right with you. We will get you there. Never. And once you go back, you're in the chair. You don't wait either.
No.
I've never experienced it. Maybe
always-
5-10 minutes again, but that I understand.
He always runs on time. I've never seen Dr. Gomes run behind. We actually make a joke, the staff, that we think he's like super bionic
that's
because he'll always make sure, like, if there's a hygiene patient waiting, it's like a finesse. It's an art. A lot of doctors keep people waiting.
Yeah.
We could have 3
Yeah.
rooms filled. Dr. Gomes is like in each room, and then all of a sudden it's done.
Yeah.
It's pretty,
But
pretty unique in that aspect.
Yeah, his schedule, however you do the schedule, is amazing. And I just think that I'm partial to Oradell now. Yes, I live
Okay.
closer. I live closer, but I also have been able to tell some of my friends, oh, he has an office in Oradell, and they are quicker to be like, oh, he does, because I'll go there. Like, some people
It catches on after a while.
from where I live, some people are like, oh, Tenafly, it's not far, but it's it's out of our little
And
neck of the
it's a
woods.
very funny niche market. So
It is.
we're in
It
Bergen
is.
County, right?
Yeah.
So when I work because I work in both offices, when I'm in Tenafly, our Tenafly patients will say, Oradell. Where's Oradell?
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
talking, guys, 6 miles, 15 minutes. Like
It's not that far.
it's not that far.
Yeah.
He, you know,
The only reason I knew where Tenafly was because I used to go to that office.
Right.
Honestly, that when I looked at it on your website, I was like, oh, I know where this building is. Otherwise, I
but
probably
he's
would have
got
been
both
like,
ends of Bergen County.
yeah.
So like Demorest, Cresskill, Tenafly is like one unit of people that you're on that strip. But now that you located to Oradell, like in that area that is all those towns are
So
right
come on,
behind.
River Edge.
I
Emerson,
know, like
west of
you're like in the
Mill Creek,
you're
let's
like
go.
dead middle Bergen County,
Yeah.
so you're
And
accessible to
Oradell
everyone.
is a wonderful community. People.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is actually Oradell.
The mayor is really nice. You're friends with the mayor?
Yeah, so like we call it like Little Mayberry because like everybody in Oradell knows each other. And I remember when Dr. Gamza and I were like looking in locations and we were trying to be open like just for more space because basically he needed more space. We had no more space left in the casino, aka Tenafly. That's a joke for Jay. He's like, where's like Oradell? And because Dr. Gamza wasn't originally from this area and I grew up in this area. And I was like, oh, Dr. Gamza, you're going to love it. Like,
Well, that's what he said.
You're
to
gonna
me.
love it.
He was doing something.
he's from Ohio,
was
so
in
he
there
doesn't get the
one day.
Jersey.
And he's like, oh, we're going to open another office, I think. Like this was in the very beginning. And I said, oh, whereabouts? He goes, have you ever heard of like Oradell? And I was like, oh my God. It's like, of course I've heard of it. I live right like on the border of
Yeah.
Oradell, New Milford.
I didn't know that he was from Ohio,
Yeah.
Cleveland. So,
Well, and that's what he explained to me
I
too.
was
He's
like,
oh, I didn't grow
oh.
up in the area. But
and then being thrown into this Jersey mix, Dr. G, this is like
but he was like, oh, Colleen, you know of it? Like, and he was like, oh, I'm glad now I feel better. Like now I've heard of this. It's not just Jen, you know, I've been asking other people and now and it's a beautiful area.
Plenty
The
of
view
parking.
is better. It's of the golf course out.
Tons of parking. And if you really want to give yourself a treat, there's a Dairy Queen right next door.
Yeah.
So like if you're feeling, and there's a cafe in the building.
And you need something soft.
Exactly.
Don't suck on the straw though.
There's a lot of good like perks about it.
But even in their office building, there's a nice little cafe.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, if you're running like I do, I'll run from work, and sometimes I won't have a snack or anything, and I at least I know, oh, I can
Stop
go
there and
grab
get
something. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. The people are very nice in the building.
I think personally, Oradell has been a beautiful success. It's kind of been like, such a beautiful thing to watch it evolve. I've been very lucky to be a part of it. I watch it every day and, just seeing more people calling, seeing people knowing about it, seeing people making the connection between Tenafly and Oradell is nice because people say, oh, it's a different name. Is it the same owner?
The connection here is Tenafly and Oradell.
Right.
It's a circle.
But people get confused, Dr. G, because it's like it is, but
we're all connected.
Same owner, it's the same business.
Same philosophy.
We went with the town, so people when they like looked, they would say, "Oh, okay, he's in town or whatnot."
It's a great concept, and I don't know. I can't say, and I'm so glad that I would have still gone to Tenafly, but and I still do go to both when I've had to. I'll show up in Tenafly and he'll be like, "Oh, look at you're here." I'm like, yeah, I'm here.
Well, there's going to be some like a couple changes for our Oradell followers. So Dr. Gamza tries to split himself in as many possible ways as he can. He works a lot of hours to
only 8 hours in a day.
Yeah, he does more than that and more patients.
12.
So he doesn't want to make anybody think he's unaccessible. He is going to split his time equally between Tenafly and Oradell, but he is adding an extra day. Oradell was closed, and we will be opening in 2025 on Thursdays as well.
Oh.
So we have both practices running 5 days a week, full time, for accessibility for all patients.
And we're going to have extra coffee for Dr. G there.
You have a lot of coffee there.
He definitely likes a 2:30 Nespresso.
2:30.
Yeah, that's his time. But the thing is, I think that because Oradell was growing and there was a following coming, we wanted both offices to be identical visions.
Of course.
And we do have a wonderful...
We wanted to match the second location to the first location.
Exactly. Which is matching pretty well.
Yeah.
But there's one difference between the Oradell location and the Tenafly location. The Oradell location came with 0 patients.
Really?
That was an extension. And I think that was something that we both agreed on, like... was not a hurdle, but a new endeavor, meaning we didn't know.
And happy anniversary. Then that word is even more important. Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
I mean, a year in.
Because he was
and your chairs are booked.
He was like really a little nervous because
who would
like when he purchased Tenafly, he started, I believe, with 2 employees.
Hmm.
It was 2 employees,
Now you have
and
many.
he was doing everything by himself.
Yeah.
And then, as he grew Tenafly, to his credit, he grew it very fast.
Yeah.
And his hygiene team grew, and his staff grew because we needed more people for more patients.
Mhm.
And then he even took our lunchroom and made it into a operatory.
I didn't take away the lunch.
We had to get our lunchroom taken away because we
In
ran out of
Tenafly?
space.
Yeah, we still have a lunch room.
We did. We moved it, but like because he needed the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, as like we were collaborating through the years and we were talking about and hygiene, it was filling. And
Yeah.
Dr. Gamza and I started talking, and I said, I think you need more space because you're blowing up,
Yeah.
And that's when he said, yeah, maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And that's how the ball got rolling. And the point is it was kind of a scary risk with having 0 patients and just adding to his credit, I don't want to use the word ballsy, but I have no other word to really supplement
It's
for that.
risky.
It's
But
a
in
risky
life, you
moment.
have to take risks.
Right. He took a
sometimes,
risk
right?
and it was empty, and he went on a hope and a prayer, like what was it Bon Jovi said?
Living on a
Living
prayer.
on a prayer.
I think I told you this, Jen, at the time. I'm like, you only live once. You
Yeah, you
start
definitely
creating,
jumped off the
innovating.
cliff on this one.
Yeah,
so he did it, and I didn't think he was going to do it. I was a little nervous.
I had someone give me that advice one time. If you don't try it, how will you know? And you have to take risks to make life interesting and to be happy in life.
and that applies to everything in life.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say, when you jumped off the cliff, I followed.
You did.
I followed Bill, because I said if anybody could do it, I'm gonna jump on this boat. So I jumped on that boat, and he
and
did
opening
it.
a new office not only is it's stressful
Oh,
from
yeah.
a leasing stamp. I mean, there's different parts of the business. People
And I
don't
think
realize either. It's not just a doctor opening an
Right.
office.
No,
You're in new space. You're designing.
New staff.
You need
new
Yeah.
staff,
yeah.
streamlining.
Like the
Systems.
the system, we changed our system to a cloud-based software system. So
Which
that was taking.
Ultimately, I think was a good
Of
decision.
course, that was.
But
your idea,
initially,
yeah.
we were scared because like when your staff is trained on a certain
Yeah,
software.
yeah.
So basically, we have a building with no patients,
Mhm.
just each other.
The phone line connects.
The phone line connects due to Dr. G's decision. We had software that none of us knew what we were doing. And it was just like, how do we get the schedule? How do we move the hygienist? How do we divide the doctors? And then Dr. G got so busy, he actually added an associate,
See, but what's
which was
important
smart
there- which is
because he
smart,
couldn't do it all himself.
but I think you make really good decisions, and I won't just say business, but I just feel like you make informed, good decisions.
Thank
You again, I'm not there every day, but you seem to hire people who like to work there. No one seems miserable.
No.
And
Jen, are you miserable?
I am definitely not miserable. I do feel like, so listen, sometimes it's a little challenging because I noticed something. Dr. Gamza and I have very similar personalities in the perfection. I'm a Virgo. I don't know if anybody follows the stars, but we want everything to be
Yeah, you
so
want it
right
to be
all
so
day
right,
long
right.
that our energies could match sometimes. And I'm not supposed to match his energy because he's the owner. So I have to dial it back. But I do it because
But you're passionate.
I'm
and you
passionate.
can-
And sometimes
and
it's a
when-
kind of like, self-destructive passion, but it's good passion.
Well, it's good passion. And
It's-
I'm very similar in that way too, especially when I hook up with, I call it a partner, a boss, or
Mhm.
somebody that I work with. When that person treats you right as an employee, and you're that good of a boss or a
That's right.
partner, your employees want to give back to your business, and they want to
Very cool.
help
That's
you. They
true.
want to encourage you. So, and
Maybe
I
they want to help too much.
well, but that's some of my experience too. I've had to scale back too in some of my positions because they're like, "Oh my God, you're so right, but like let's just leave it alone for now." But that's what's important when you have that yin and yang a little bit, and I think you guys have that, and I think
We do.
I really think that you make some really good decisions, and I think Oradell was a good one, and I'm
Thank
hoping,
God, because
I'm
at this
wishing
point
you
we have it,
much,
Colleen.
but I'm wishing you much more continued success, and I hope
Thank you.
nothing
So
but
there's a question
see
for
growth
Dr.
there.
G. When Oradell is huge, do you think there might be a number 3, or that's to be seen into the next podcast?
I mean,
Keep people looming,
when I first had my second kid, I was thinking about the third kid yet. So
Exactly.
you gotta-
You know me. I'm thinking about 20 years from now. So there's like he tells me to slow down.
But
Well,
I would say get Sean given the compassion that you show your patients, I think that would be Dr. G's first thing is, could I handle the more
That's
patients
correct.
the way that I want to? And I
That's
think
true.
that's what's speaking volumes here. He's going to open up another day in Oradell so that he can still pay attention to Tenafly. He
That's
doesn't
right.
want to leave anybody feeling not welcome or not part of it anymore. And just because he moved on to Oradell doesn't mean he's not still in his Tenafly family,
Yeah.
and that's amazing, and especially, guys, he's got 4 kids at home, like,
He's
and a wife. It's
and he
amazing.
balances it all.
And he
Well,
well,
he tries to
he
balance.
leaves it outside of the operatory, which is amazing, because not many people are able to do that either. But
But we'll do a special shout out
you
because
breathe, I hope.
I need to do a special shout out because I've been in the dental field for
Mhm.
20 years, not dating myself, but 20 years.
Yeah.
And I will say this, Dr. Gomz's wife is an extraordinary woman. She's very supportive. She's always positive. She's put up with
It's very
probably
important.
a lot of outside,
Mhm.
building something's not easy. There's
Yeah.
a lot of tension and
You have
stress.
to have support at home.
So honestly, shout out
Thank
to
you.
Daphne
Yeah.
because she's always such a sweetheart, and I can't say that about every dentist wife, unfortunately.
Well, and no,
So no offense
and
to anybody else,
no, and
but
I'm in business too. I could tell you the
I'm
same
lucky
thing.
to be involved
Yeah,
with a
yeah.
family that is very supportive
Well,
of
and
each
it
other.
sounds like even though she may not work in the office, she's part of your office family in a sense too.
Yeah.
And
She brings us
that's
cookies
what's
all the
amazing.
time,
That's
and honestly, it makes you feel good.
Yeah, it's nice when you're appreciated by the extended family, as an employee. And I don't know. I always ask the girls when I go, because it's who I am. I always say,
You
"Can
don't
I
have to
bring
do
you
it. Mhm.
something?" Like I'll call them even and be like, "Hey, I'm on my way. Do you want Start?
That's
Like, do you
very
want
sweet.
anything?" But that's who I am. I just like to make people smile. And
You know what? We'll cap off soon because we don't want to bore the public.
yeah, I was just gonna say, I feel
But
like
I
I'm
do want to
repeating
say this.
myself.
One thing I did today that, I know Dr. G sometimes I'm very worried. I always worry that my staff feels healthy and safe.
Mhm.
Meaning like I want them to feel like
It's
this is a non-toxic environment.
Mhm.
They can approach me. We can resolve problems. This is a stable environment. Today, because it's sometimes hard to stabilize, just like the more kids you have to watch more people. It gets harder, right?
Mhm.
So you try to stabilize. I actually ordered them all a self-health planner
Wow.
that they could actually write their days in what office, what tasks they need to do, when they need to do them, when they need to connect,
That's
when
huge.
so we have better follow through. It's inspiring them in a way that like, okay, now I switch your schedules on Friday, you're going to be here. What is the first thing I'm starting my day with? So they have it, and it's also writing their positives of the day and their negatives and where we can improve for tomorrow. So I think if we keep on going with that philosophy, we'll be in pretty good
I'm a
shape.
big believer in a 3 o'clock dance party myself in the afternoon.
We haven't gotten that yet.
But sometimes, maybe when you do have a break, you turn on something silly, is my point. You just do something. You pull everybody, have an afternoon huddle spontaneously.
Or just have a cup of coffee
They would-
saying,
well,
hey,
that's what I'm
let's
saying.
recharge at 3:30.
Have an afternoon,
Let's have an
afternoon-
espresso, you
Yes.
know?
Sounds
One thing we do have, and I have to say, I always liked a good party. We have a really good culture.
Mhm.
This past Christmas, Dr. Gamza was like generous enough to think of all of us, and he took us, and the girls were really, really enamored because it was a beautiful, perfect
They told me
day.
it was amazing.
It was
I
a
talked-
small boat.
they-
I was a little nervous in the beginning, so I was like, "Are we gonna go to Gilligan's Island on this? Like, what did he book?" I was a little nervous. It didn't look too stable.
The Hudson.
It was on the Hudson. I'm
It's
like,
called-
Dr. G,
It's called LSI.
do we have the right tickets? Is this what you booked? He booked a beautiful cruise, and we actually ate a beautiful brunch with mimosas passing the Statue of Liberty on this crystal clear day. And it was just the nicest experience for a holiday party. And
You don't see many
didn't even-
doctors' offices doing something like that. I
no,
don't
he didn't
think.
even blink.
Do you?
I mean, there's some offices that give good parties. I
Okay.
will say that. I do know a few.
Okay.
But he was up for anything. If it was bowling, he was up for it. Anything that was a team
Made everybody
effort,
else happy.
he made us happy. I'm sure he didn't want to maybe pass the Statue of Liberty on a Sunday.
Oh.
He probably had other things.
oh,
Well, no, but you were involved,
Yeah.
and it was my associate took a picture with me, and I always look at it. We always laugh. We were so happy because we got some good team time,
Well,
and we got to know each other. Besides our work
Yeah.
stress, we got to know about our families.
I could tell you real quick. I was in the office the day before you were going to that party.
Oh.
And the girls up
They
front,
were very excited.
they were so excited. They were so cute. They were talking about what outfits they were wearing, and they included me in the conversation. And we were like, "Oh, you got to wear this with that." And then when I came back the next time, I said, "How was it?" And they were
It
like,
was
"Oh
great.
my gosh, it was
It was
amazing. We
amazing.
looked so cute." Like it really.
Dr. Gomza
They were
played
that
Santa Claus.
excited.
We all got a picture with him.
Did you? Wow.
He
But
was
they
like
were
literally like, no, I don't want to do
they
this. We're
were
like, you're
just so
doing it.
excited to get to an opportunity to do something like that, and they were so cute. They really were so thrilled.
Yeah, he does
And,
things like that. Like he'll
That's
do
amazing.
for everybody's birthday, he'll make sure that he always acknowledges everybody.
That's nice.
And it's just a nice culture because when you feel like you're appreciated, as
Yeah,
you said,
you're
you want to
willing
go the
to.
extra mile.
Yeah, you're willing to go that extra mile. So,
So I think
well,
that's
thank you for
everything.
having me.
Do you want to cap off with a closing statement?
Since we talked the whole
Since we and
time.
Colleen did this is about you. So if you would like to cap off with something that you think is important to, that your patient's embracing you and you want to get more patients to embrace you and trust you, what would be your closing statement?
Closing statement.
To be short and sweet.
First, I want to thank Jen for being here
Thank you.
and doing everything you do for our office. And, she's an amazing office manager.
Thank you.
And Colleen, no one deserves to have their teeth fixed and have dental peace more than
And
you.
health. I
Yeah.
learned it's
Yeah.
a health thing. It's not just
Well, that's
your
true.
teeth.
Yeah.
So
Thank
I
you.
want to thank you for being here.
Thank
And
you.
and yeah, check us out, in our second location, Oradell.
Yeah. Make an appointment in Oradell.
Call us. We'll give you our
Until
cell
next
phones.
podcast.
And
Until the next
actually,
podcast.
when you're
No,
swiping, look at the posts because they're pretty.
And I would like we had this podcast. I would like maybe Q's and A's that we could ask Jersey Media if anybody has questions when they run it. If you could run a question board that we could answer.
Yeah.
If we take your insurance, if we do cosmetic, Dr. G's all about cosmetic. Yes, we do Botox, we do veneers, we do restorations, we do full dentures, we do, what else do we do?
And
Dr.
they work.
G?
And
We
they
do,
work with you.
Implants.
implants, root canals. We see kids.
Mhm.
We do Invisalign.
We do Invisalign.
We do whitening. So
we do-
Q's and A's here. Like if you guys want to reach out to us, speak with Jen personally, just message the board. I'd love to get you in. I'd love to, make you feel like one of our family members.
Well,
And Colleen could be our new sponsor. She could welcome you at the door.
No,
So
But if you're worried also about the cost and the trauma,
oh yeah.
and I say both, please feel free to not only call Dr. G, but talk to Jen. It's worth a conversation. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
You find out that you can't do it or you can do a piece of it and not this piece. Dr. G was so conservative with me and understood where I was coming from that he said, okay, we have to do this first. This we'll do in 6 months. We made it work. We figured it out, and we figured it out the way we could with insurance.
Well, with
it really
it takes
worked
patience and
out.
resilience. And one thing
It
I
did.
have to say, I'm very resilient when it comes to finding money from the insurance company or helping a patient.
Yes.
And he's extremely patient in the clinical room.
Yes.
He's very patient. He's very analytical, and he takes his time. And until it's perfect, almost to it's perfect,
Yeah.
literally, he won't stop.
I just want people to feel comfortable to at least open up
Understand
a
it.
conversation. If you're hesitant about any part of it, just call. And you don't have to go sit in the dentist chair even the first time.
We don't
can
even
sit.
charge for consults.
No.
All consults that when a patient comes, all consults are for free.
Mhm.
So you have nothing to worry about. You only have maybe a half hour and to see if you like us and if
Yeah.
it's a fit or we could fill your needs. Is that something we can do, Jersey Media? A question and Q&A box so people could reach out to us? I'd
And
like to do that.
If any patients have a question that they don't want you guys to see, I
Yeah.
mean, I can give Joe my email address, and I'm glad to. Again, I'm not paid for this. I want people to feel
I know, that's
comfortable.
how I feel.
I'm not paid for this. I'm not here
She
because
actually miss work and miss paid to
Yeah,
help us.
and I actually volunteered to do it because I feel so strongly about it, and I'm glad to talk to a patient one-on-one over email or whatever. Please, I will give them
Exactly.
separately my information, and I'm glad to answer any questions anybody
Wow,
has.
that's
Thank
big,
you.
guys.
Thank
We
you.
even got somebody off the cusp willing to give their personal
And
email.
I mean it.
Yeah, that's
I
big.
mean it.
So I guess to our next podcast, we'll come up with
Thank
a new
you.
comment.
Hopefully
Or
you'll have another patient soon that you can bring
I
up.
don't know, Dr. G. You have to think of, we always have therapy. We should maybe bring on the whole staff and talk
Oh,
about
that
the
would be
dynamic
fun.
of
We
our
could do that.
yeah.
I would
That
love
So
to see some
until the
of
next part,
some of the
and
staff
we'll keep
here.
you posted on our Oradell stats. I think July 2025, is our year and a half.
Yeah.
So we'll see where we're at and where we're
Yeah.
going, right?
Great.
All right.
Great.
That's
Okay.
it.
Thank you.